All right, welcome back to LWN tonight, folks. It is the end of March here. We're getting real close. I got Jeff B in the waiting room with me, and we're going to get started tonight. We got a lot of stuff to cover, a lot of stuff to catch up on. I've been gone for a few weeks working back east and trying to pay the bills. And then we've got some stuff that we want to show you that's going to be part of our coin giveaway, our first quarter giveaway. You're not going to want to miss that because I got some really cool items that I picked up while I was on the road that I want to show you guys tonight, so that you can see what your donations help do here at LWN. They help with paying the producers. They help with software. They help with our bills here. Buying the merchandise from Jeff's store, same thing, helps that. And we try to give back. So we believe in the reverse grifting here. I know Jeff B started that saying, and so we like to give back to you guys for being so kind to us. So thank you for all the donations. We've had people sending us checks. We've had Cash App. We've had Buy Me a Coffee, and then all the stuff that you guys do to keep us on the air, because I'm telling you, it's hard for so many hours that I put in on the road, and then to come home and try to stay on track with this too. So Tammy needs your prayers tonight. Her husband needs your prayers tonight. She is not going to be with us for quite some time. So please continue to pray for her and her family. They're just going through a hard time right now, and I don't know, and she does not know how long it will be before she's back on air with us. I can't wait for her to be back. I did ask her if she would join us tonight and for the giveaway, and she won't be able to join us. So prayers to Tammy and her husband Dave, and their children too. So with that being said, I'm going to bring Jeff B in. As always, pleasure having you, Jeff. How you been?
Good. Every time I see you, I just am waiting for the sound of "and tonight on the Dukes."
Tonight on the Dukes. Love it, man. I love that show. That was a good show. I was addicted to that when I was a kid.
Oh yeah.
Well, we got a lot of people in here tonight with us. Just on YouTube alone is like 230 people, and I don't know, I haven't checked Rumble or X or anywhere else, but I'm sure we probably got close to 300 people so far tonight, and it's good to be back. So thanks for joining us again tonight. ZZGOP. Everybody's liking the beard. It's great to be back. It's been a long time. But again, I just been on the road working, and Tammy was holding down the fort for us and doing a great job. And then, some things happened with the family for her, so she's not here. And my mom, thanks for asking, D. Mom is doing great. I talked to her today on the phone. She's feisty as ever. So your prayers do matter, and your prayers do help. So thank you for all those prayers for Mom. She's still trying to get a couple of things to get under control, but she's doing a whole lot better. And if you're asking, can I join? And if you guys want to get in on the giveaway, so Jeff and I are talking backstage. I think we're going to do the giveaway Wednesday night. And warning to all you guys, Wednesday night is going to be pretty much just the giveaway only. So if that's not your cup of tea, you don't have to join us. But we're probably not going to be putting out too much information. I mean, Jeff's welcome to share things with us Wednesday night, but the show is not going to be designed for information. It's going to be designed for reverse grifting and giving back. So we got some silver coins to give away. We got a barbecue to give away. Jeff B's got 2 $100 gift certificates to the merchandise store he's going to give away. And then I got some other stuff that I'm going to show you guys tonight that we're going to give away. So that's going to be Wednesday night. You're not going to want to miss it. And how you join, or how you have an opportunity to win those items, is just buy a coffee. That's all you got to do. Buy a coffee, Venmo, Cash App, any of those things. The mods can help you out with that stuff. But for every $5 that you guys spend on a coffee is an entry into the drawing. And for every $5 that you spend in the store with Jeff, every $5 is an entry. So you buy a $15 t-shirt, you get 3 entries. You buy 15 coffees, you get 3 entries. And hell, some of you probably have at least 20, 30 entries already in the last 3 months. So that's 20, 30 times you get the win. Jeff, anything else you'd like to add to that?
No, I think we're good.
All right. Well, with that being said, why don't we go ahead and get going, man? I know that we got a lot to cover, and there's some things that I've just kind of cautiously been paying attention to. I kind of made that the thumbnail. We got Benjamin Netanyahu, however you pronounce his damn name, BiBi. Is he messing? Is he around? What's going on with Israel? What's going on in Iran? Are we putting more boots on the ground? That's a question I have, because I heard that we're going to send another 3,000. The economy, fuel prices, grocery prices. Are you happy? Are you not happy? And then, of course, no Kings. It just happened over the weekend, and it seems to be building steam. So what side of that side are you on? That was not a misspelling, just so you know. That was exactly how I wanted to put out there, is what side of this side are you on when it comes to no Kings, Trump, economy, all the stuff? I mean, I see some people flipping and some people being pretty upset and angry. I see other people are holding fast. So that's just some of the stuff that we're going to talk about tonight, and whatever else Jeff wants to bring to the table. So go ahead, Jeff. I yield to you, sir.
So I was given a piece of information probably about 3 hours ago that I believe it was last Tuesday, so 6 days ago. There is a representative inside of the United Nations named Mohammed Safa, and he had tendered his resignation to the United Nations, and he put out that there is a massive lobbying group that is putting pressure on certain countries for us to drop a bomb on Iran.
Now, when you mean bomb, what type of bomb are you talking about?
Of the nuclear type.
Yeah.
And so he had met with, I want to believe, the Secretary General, and he didn't get anywhere with it. So he decided to make a trip to DSS, which is Diplomatic Security Services. And he asked for asylum and said that he was willing to tender proof that, and the country or countries have not been named, that is passing money inside of the United Nations in order to pressure countries to either drop one or do a false flag so one will be dropped. Now, this timeline with this guy tendering his resignation kind of coincides with the whole BiBi Netanyahu thing. So he hasn't directly come out and said it was Israel, but my guess is maybe there's more to this Netanyahu thing than we're seeing, because even some of the news media is claiming maybe, Sierra McCall or Mossad or even us may have taken him out. And I have somebody checking on the flight data, but it is rumored that BiBi's plane, the night that there was a big missile barrage, had left Israel and flew to Germany. And that plane is still sitting there. But until I can get a confirmed response, we'll just call that as speculation.
Speculation. Well, he hasn't been seen for a while, so I mean, is he
Yeah,
in hiding? That's the other thing. I mean, I feel like a lot of these guys have targets on their back, especially Trump. Weren't you just saying that that Trump had to make some precautions because they're always gunning for him, right?
yeah, there was a audio that was released when Trump was getting ready to leave Florida to come back to DC. That there was an incursion in the TFR from where he was getting ready to take off, and they had to scramble F-16s in order to get sights on this plane, because I guess Air Force One was in the process of taking off until air traffic controllers started putting out the message for the plane to divert, and they weren't getting any response back from the plane.
So let me ask you this question, Jeff. Because what media I have paid attention to when I was at work, um, there's a lot of people that are not happy with the war in Iran. They're not happy with sending military over there, and they're not happy with boots on the ground. Now, of course, a lot of big names, including Sean Ryan, and a lot of them are saying, "Hey, we're there for Israel. We're not there for the American people. This has no benefit to the American people." And I'd like for you to speak on that for a minute if you have a different opinion of that. I'm not saying either or for myself. I'm just
Right,
repeating some of the other people that are out there saying, "Hey, why the hell are we there?" And it doesn't benefit the American people. And then we can go and talk about the gas prices and all the shit that's climbing right now. The economy is super expensive, man. Fuel for diesel, I paid almost $6 a gallon to fill up my truck the other day. It's insanity. And we were told the first term, Donald Trump, drill baby drill. We're energy independent when he left office the first time. Here we are, second term, 6 years later, and how come this is affecting our fuel prices? If you can talk about that, and our grocery prices. I mean, a lot of Americans are pretty upset because he ran on that. He ran on no wars. He was going to get the fuel prices down, which he did. Fuel prices did come down, but because of this war, they've skyrocketed back up. And people like Sean Ryan and a lot of people are not happy with the situation. A lot of Americans are not happy. So can you enlighten us a little bit on that? Why we're over there in Iran? Because even his one of his security people stepped down, Kent, and he said, "Listen, Iran is not a threat to America." So he couldn't be part of this anymore either. So he left. So can you talk about some of that stuff, Jeff, and maybe connect dots for people, or maybe there's some things that we don't know that we're missing?
well, I think the situation with Kent is, uh, I think he was one of the leakers inside of the White House, inside of the inner circle, because I found out Friday that there was a Secret Service agent uh, that the director of the Secret Service had arrested for divulging certain plans and readiness trips for protectees. They haven't said who it was for, uh, but I think there's still a lot of weeds in the grass. You know, I tend to agree with the whole Iranian thing to an extent, but I believe there's a lot
Why
of
are we there, Jeff? Why are we there in Iran other than for Israel? And that's
uh,
what a lot of people think.
I believe it. We're more than likely there, a Monroe Doctrine, but two, I believe we're there to cut off the sleeping giant that is China, to cut off petro going to China.
Okay. I get that, but let me take everybody. Let's rewind to World War II.
Yep.
The reason why Japan hit us in Pearl Harbor was because we cut off their fuel, their crude, and
Right.
that's part of why Japan got into World War II and bombed us at Pearl Harbor. So
Right.
I guess my question to you, Jeff, is if we cut off crude, if we cut off energy to China because they need it for um, expanding, their iBots and all their technology,
Right.
would that force their hand to retaliate on America or allies or NATO for any reason? Because I know a lot of people are asking that question.
Well, I think, like we have in the United States, we have what's commonly referred to as the deep state. We have,
And it's deep. I think it's deeper than even Trump realized. Like, I think it's so deep. It's insane. It's insanely deep.
yeah.
Like everybody's involved, damn near.
Well, it's beginning to look like it. I mean, look, we got our congressional members that are supposedly working on the House floor to get this SAVE Act that, I've been saying for months. It's not, I don't believe it's going to pass, but you got Lindsey Graham down at Disney World on vacation. That, they were down there taking pictures of him. So, I believe China, just like us, has a deep state. And I'm still in the camp that Putin, Xi, Kim Jong-un, all these guys are kind of working together, and we are starting to iron out. Well, I think our government is known where the problem lies in the Middle East, and it's not the Israeli people, it's the Israeli government, because lo and behold, if now no one, the audio was out there, the video was out there of BiBi Netanyahu admitting that he was giving the Houthis $35 million a month. A month. So you are aiding the whole terror project. Now, some of this was leaked out, I'm guessing, by probably somebody in the security services in Israel. Because I'm a firm believer that BiBi's probably not amongst the living anymore. And with China, it's not us right now that is cutting off or restricting the Straits of Hormuz. That's the IRGC, the Houthis.
Yeah.
So we all knew it was going to get very, very, very weird. And I don't even think we're at the weird part yet.
It's weird enough for me. I'm ready to go back to something that's a lot easier to deal with than all the insanity that's going on right now.
Well, and like with Sean Ryan, he's been involved, even though he was a SEAL, and I believe he was a BM. That was his source rating. You're not read in on, none of us are read in on this program or this op or psychological warfare that's going on. And there are so many facets and so many different, I believe, plays that are being done for anybody to wrap their head around, because now you're hearing more and more people bitch about gas prices, which I totally get, because it's going to affect everything because of, shipping in stuff, semis. I mean, I think diesel here was $5.90 a gallon.
Mm-hmm. Right before I left to go to the East Coast, diesel was down around almost $3 a gallon here in Idaho. I come back and it's 549. Like it almost doubled in the 4 weeks that I was gone since we went to war with Iran.
Right.
And, I feel like we're doing Israel's dirty bidding as usual. And then to top it all off, there's speculation
Correct.
that, let's say that BiBi's still around. There's speculation that once they're done with us, they're going to buddy up with China. And that would not shock me in the least bit that Israel would do something that dirty.
Yeah, I truly believe that we're going to start hearing MBS's name really soon. Prince or King Salman out of Saudi Arabia, because there's been, Saudi has even offered the United States to help with Iran, because that's going to affect them just as much as it's going to affect us. And with the fuel prices, I see a lot of people who weren't bitching during the Biden administration on high gas prices that
are bitching now.
Correct. Exactly. And I don't agree with everything Trump does. I'm not a devout follower and a sadist of this guy. I want him to look out for us and our way of life first, but I truly believe there is something bigger at play. And he said during his first term that we're going to go through some rough patches, and it's not going to be easy, but the alternative would have been worse. And for people that say, well, Trump said he wasn't going to get us into any new wars. Yeah, he did say that. Yes, I kind of agree. But this one right here has been going on for 40 some years, and it's never been addressed.
Well, let me ask the first question tonight to all you guys watching us live here in chat, whether you're on X, thanks for joining us, Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, or if you're watching the replay later tonight or tomorrow in the next couple of days. Here's the question. Are gas prices extremely high in your area? Two-part question. And what I mean by extremely high, not like 10 cents, 12 cents. I'm talking, has fuel jumped up 30, 40, 50%? Because it did here in Idaho. And the second part to that question is, do you believe that within 6 months those prices will go back down, or do you think they're going to continue to climb or stay the same? That's my question to you. Jeff B., here's a major concern for a lot of well-connected people here in America, and it should be a major concern for you and I and all Americans. Now, obviously, America has a far superior military than Iran. That's not even debatable. But what Iran has and what they're doing, and I've got this from other military experts out there, is they're building and buying drones from China, and they're building them for $20,000. So they're spending $20,000 per drone. Listen to this, America. We're shooting them down with Tomahawks and all the wonderful defense mechanisms that we have. But the problem is every one of those missiles that we shoot down one of those Iranian drones with cost us $4 million. So the spending right now, the experts say America is spending $200 to every $1 Iran is spending in this war. Where does that lead America? We just broke $39 trillion in our national debt. The experts said it will take 2 to 3 years to build our arsenal back up after we fight with Iran for a while and keep shooting these drones down. And it will cost the American taxpayer, you, me, everyone listening tonight, billions and billions and billions of dollars, which means we're going to skyrocket right past 40 trillion like it wasn't even like it wasn't even there. And we're already paying $1 trillion in interest every year on this debt, which is slavery to the American people. We're going to shoot past $1 trillion, and we're going to get to where we won't even make enough money in America to pay the interest on that debt. That should be a major concern to every American. Jeff B., what do you say about the 200 to 1?
Well, these same people that are coming out and saying this, they were pretty much like crickets when they were sending all of our money to Ukraine.
Yeah, they didn't say a damn word. What are we up to now? Like $165 billion, I think, was one of the last numbers that I seen that we've sent to the Ukraine so far. And you said it was pretty quiet over there.
Yeah, I mean, it's you don't hear anybody really covering it. I mean, I listened to Vladimir Putin this morning basically offer an olive branch to Europe to say, hey, with the crisis in Iran, with the United States, what they're doing, he didn't agree or disagree with what we were doing. He said, we will offer fuel and oil to Europe, but the United States and the European Union has to agree with it. And I believe, going back to your Trump's first term of drill baby drill, right? We're going to be energy independent.
We weren't going to be, Jeff. We were. Well, I worked in the oil field at that time. We were energy independent. We didn't need to buy oil from anyone. I understand somebody smart like Donald Trump and some of the people, they'll buy oil cheaper than what we can pump it out of the ground from some of these other countries and fill up the national reserve. And I think that's great. But I don't understand the oil prices. I don't understand the fuel prices right now.
Well, that's just supply and demand. It's uncertainty in the market. That I believe that's why we're sending Marine Expeditionary Forces over there. I could pretty much state for a fact that the SEAL Team 1 detachment that's based in Bahrain is already doing ops near Karg Island. But you have to remember those 4 years that Joe Biden apparently was in office. If you go back and listen to some of the news media clips, they were saying about how they were bleeding our strategic oil reserves to the ground.
They were. So we reported on that here at LWN. They completely drained the strategic oil reserves that we had to bring fuel prices down here in America because it was so high during the Biden administration. And here we are, years later. Now we're under Trump's administration. It's super high. I don't understand it. I'd love to get John Esterbrooks on here with us sometime this week and talk about that because he's got a background in drilling as well. And it's insanity to me. And I know that a lot of American people are feeling it and it's hurting them. It's hurting them really, really bad. And so, they may have voted for Trump 2-3 times, but now they're so upset with what's going on and why we're in Iran. Here's a question, Jeff. They already put boots on the ground. They were supposed to send 3,000, I think 82nd Airborne was supposed to be boots on the ground. I know, Kathy, I seen the same meme that was on Facebook that said Crocs on the ground, and it was kind of funny. But on a serious note, do we have people on the ground in Iran, and are we sending more people to Iran?
Well, I don't believe that they're physically in Iran right now because if you look at the air traffic, there's a lot of cargo planes flying into Saudi. I think Saudi's going to be used as a staging point. The first thing I think that they're going to have to do, just from a safety perspective, is they're going to have to make sure that Karg Island isn't booby trapped. That's where you're going to have guys from EOD, SEAL, Marine Force Recon, Rangers, Delta going in. And there's some technology that was being put into play when I got out that allows for detection even before you set foot on ground. So that'll be the first thing, because if you and this ties into the reasoning I believe that this UN member put down his resignation is, I believe that this guy, when he went to DSS and he blew the whistle, it fits the time frame when they started to announce the 82nd Airborne. So there was probably something in play that, whether it was a false flag or whatever, to get certain people to do, the Israeli government's bidding, we're doing enough. But here's the thing that, the American people, I hope, come to realize is, whether you agree with it or disagree with it, Trump made a promise to these Iranian people. If you stand up, we're going to be there to support you. And, that, and I think he's working a lot with the Shah's son, because you keep hearing these news media saying that, Trump says he's negotiating with the IRGC. I don't think he's negotiating with them. I think he's negotiating with a quote unquote continuity of government inside of Iran to get rid of these mullahs and to allow for, because I believe that the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, who's more moderate in that region, is going to be kind of like the center point for that hemisphere, kind of like the United States with us. So I don't know. I know it's going to get dicey. I mean, we already had 6 guys killed in Saudi. Supposedly.
Yeah, I think we're up to 12 or 13 soldiers that
Right.
we've lost, which is very concerning to a lot of Americans. What's your response to some of the comments there in chat where they said Trump made a promise to us, America first, and that's what Marjorie Taylor Greene and a lot of these other people, and I know a lot of people don't like Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's a traitor, blah blah blah.
Right.
I don't even pay attention to any of that stuff. But what I'm saying is, there's a lot of people out there saying he's not America first anymore. So that's my second question to you to chat tonight. If you're watching replay or whatever, do you believe that Trump is still America first? I believe he is.
Yes.
I don't think he's going the direction I want him to go, but that does not mean he's not America first. Is he compromised? Can Trump be compromised at this point? That's another question I have for you in chat.
Yeah, I do believe he's America first, and I think Iran is, a segment of what the phrase "Save Israel for last" is for. Israel has always used Iran is the Baba Yaga, the boogeyman. And in order to get more money out of the U.S. taxpayers. And I think that's why you have a lot of these congressional members that are shitting loaves, because I believe they know they're found out. And, time will tell. I think we got the July 4th, 250th. I think after that, that's when it gets really hot, because now the White House come out, I believe it was today, either today or over the weekend, and they announced what they're putting underneath the ballroom at the White House. It's going to be a very large military operations center.
Yeah, and a bunker, which they already had a bunker under there, so maybe they're making it bigger, better technology. I don't know, but isn't that a little concerning for people if they're building stuff like that under the White House? Like, do they know something's coming that the rest of us don't? Because I know that that's always been a major concern for forever, since the 40s and since the 50s with the Cold War, of a nuclear holocaust, of us getting struck with nuclear weapons. I know that Trump wants to build the Golden Dome, but I don't know, that to me, that's like, holy shit, are they trying to tell us that maybe we should be preparing for some shit too? Like, I don't know, Jeff. Like I said, there's so much speculation out there right now, and so many people running in so many different directions. It's hard to keep up with all of it.
Well, and then you got these new stories coming out today that, these Marines that are on these amphibious ships, normally they're military expeditionary units that are sailing over to the Gulf, or that are already there, that they're starting to, unnamed sources from the Pentagon said that they're starting to claim conscientious objectors. I don't buy. I mean, you'll have a fringe element that, we did, even, in the intelligence community, when shit got hot, they wanted to say, oh, I'm done with this, yada yada, and I want to be gone. Well, screw up bad enough and you'll end up where you don't have to worry about it. But I truly believe we are watching the product of the biggest miscommunication campaign that the U.S. Army Psychological Warfare Center can put out.
Well, all I know is they're doing a good job if that's what they're doing, because they've got some of the smartest sons of bitches on the planet running in circles and not knowing what's going on, which, me being Captain Skeptical and always trying to look at reality, I'm like, how come people with military background and people who are very well connected, a lot of people think that, oh, they don't know what the hell they're doing, but yet some 50-year-old guy gets on the fucking internet and Googles a few things, and he knows more than that guy does. That's right. Kind of where I'm like, okay, come on, guys. Got to kind of take the blinders off and wake up here. How is this guy over here saying all this stuff, who's very well connected, dumber than a guy who just gets on the internet a couple hours a night and Googles a couple of things and he knows the plan? Like, I don't know, man. I'm pretty skeptical when it comes to that shit.
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess we'll all find out shortly, Well,
okay. So here's the end game for me. They've been moving goalposts back, Jeff B, for 6 years.
Correct.
6 years. So here we go. Here's the goalpost. Once we get past these goalposts, there ain't nothing anybody can tell me that's going to ever change my mind if things don't change at that point. And I'm not even counting on these goalposts. I'm just saying, for everybody out there who's still, hey, there's something going on and things are going to change. Here's the goalpost for me, that once we get past these goalposts, there ain't nothing that anybody can tell me. And I'm going to be like, oh, yep. Yeah. We can wait another little bit. So you've got January 4th, 250 years. Nothing major happens on that day. If it's just a major celebration, that's a goalpost that you don't return from. Midterms. If midterms come out and Republicans lose the House or the Senate to Democrats, that's a major goalpost for me. I don't think you come back from that either. And if we get to his next year after this full year, and things get worse in Iran or anything, there's no ever convincing me that there's certain things in charge or certain people in charge. So those are those goalposts that at this point, I think that's the last stand. That's the Alamo for whatever some of the people out there are believing, that's your Alamo. If it gets past those things, it's done. Like stick a fork in it. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, and I believe a lot. I think we will see the direction when the SAVE Act isn't put up for a vote on the Senate.
Yeah, but didn't we just talk about that the SAVE Act is not going to be, that we feel like the SAVE Act is not going to go through, like it's not going to, or maybe I was talking to somebody else on that. No. What happens if the SAVE Act doesn't happen?
You have Trump bring out what I have been told. I can't prove it or validate it, but there's already an executive order already drafted, ready to go under national security guidelines for elections. And now, remember, I've been saying there's going to be a constitutional crisis.
I think we've been in constitutional crisis for quite a while, Jeff.
Well, I think we have
for a long time.
But
I mean, just 2020 alone,
right,
is constitutional crisis, and we talked about that.
Well, you get to 2020, and look, there's an executive order that kept being reissued by Joe Biden administration on if there is one vote that is illegally cast, the whole election is null and void. Well, Georgia has come out and said, Trump won 2020. Okay. They have come out and admitted it. You're going to have Pennsylvania come out and admit it.
It's going to be a shit show.
Right. So this is what I think leads up to the constitutional crisis is prior to the midterms. And I'm not fully convinced that midterms are going to happen. I believe that this is a setup for the constitutional issue because the U.S. Supreme Court, I don't believe, is going to touch this. That's why I was told the executive order was done under, because the president can't tell the states how to conduct the elections, but he can put in guidelines because it's federal on what has to be done.
Well, I know that Trump always wants to give power back to the states. And a lot of people just want to see him, take control of everything and make everything right. I mean, we'd all love to see that, but then we start diving into no kings, and that thing is growing. So here's where I think things could go.
Yeah.
I don't pay attention to the plan. I don't pay attention to a lot of stuff that a lot of viewers here are embedded in. I pay attention to a lot of other things and other people, right, and try to stay my feet in on my path.
Right.
I have this ugly feeling in my gut that they are either really pushing us hard to do something really stupid and cause a civil war, or I feel, and I told you that earlier today, or I feel like they don't even have to push us into it. It's going to happen organically with the left and the right hating each other. And I see these no king rallies continue to build and build and build. And I don't support it. I'm just saying they're getting bigger. And look at what happened. Look at what happened with George Floyd. I mean, hell, they went absolutely insane. And I know, and I want to talk about what we had talked about earlier, the date, the milestone that we talked about earlier today for that. But it's building and it's building. They're putting firearms in the hands of a bunch of freaking crazies out there, and they're claiming to militarize themselves, and they're coming after us. And to me, having children, that's very concerning to me because I'm seeing it growing in my backyard. It's getting bigger and bigger here. Mm-hmm. And we watched that in the summer of love of 2020 where they burned cities to the ground. They overtook police precincts. They caused billions of dollars of damage across America. They stopped highways. But we know that Trump has a plan for that. He's got a reaction team for that. You want to talk about that for a minute, Jeff?
Yeah. So I believe.
But first, before you tell them about that, what do you think? What do you think about all the no kings and them building up, building up, and building up? Do you feel like that's even a concern, or do you think Trump's got a plan and he's just going to handle it and we don't even have to worry about it? Because I'm going to tell you right now, I'm always packing. I don't go anywhere without being armed because there ain't nobody coming to save me. And I want to make sure that I can protect myself or my family at any given moment. I'm not putting my hands, I'm not putting my safety in the hands of police departments or anything like that. I put myself in the hands of God, but God's not telling me to just go around stupid and not think about things and make sure that I'm protected. So I'm always carrying.
Well, I'm not worried about the no kings thing because that's going to dry up when the money's dried up. Because all those people, if you look at those now, granted, there are some people out there that truly believe that Donald Trump is a dictator. And then when you ask him, how's he a dictator? Tell me one thing that he's been a dictator on. The look on their face. Well, they can't come up with an honest answer. And I believe that these no kings is an op to find out the money trail, to find out who's feeding this money in. Because look,
Jeff, we already know that. We've been reporting on who's funding this shit for damn near 6 years, and I agree with Oklahoma. That Smith and Wesson protects me too. Thank you for the comment. We already know who's funding this shit. George Soros, the left. The trail has been there for a long time, and we all know it.
Well, right. You had USAID that was funding.
Yeah.
And they shut that down, right? So now you have another head of the same devil that pops up. That's what I think this is. Am I concerned about these idiots? No. Anybody who says Donald Trump, you don't have to like everything he does. You don't have to agree with anything he does. But isn't it the left these same group of people they're out there yelling no kings? Weren't they the same group of people that said Trump wouldn't orchestrate a peaceful transfer of power?
Oh, it's all the same people. It's always the same people.
All of these, look, you have these politicians now, like that Jasmine Crockett who lost her primary. Oh, now all of a sudden the elections are rigged. All because you lost? Or maybe you were never really put in that office. See, I listened to, do you know who Judge Joe Brown is?
Yep.
Okay. He was talking about the laptops from hell, the Joe Biden or Hunter Biden laptops.
Yeah, we have Wiener's laptop too, and Nancy Pelosi's. There's three of them out there.
Correct. And Judge Brown said that there was him, a bunch of federal prosecutors and retired judges that were called in to go through and look at these laptops. There wasn't one Hunter Biden laptop. There wasn't two. There were a total of 3. And he said, for fact, that the stuff that's on that laptop would topple countries. Okay, so
with the Epstein files, we haven't seen anything from the Epstein files either.
Here's my thing. I take a different point of view on the Epstein file, and I know I've said this before. If you're not a victim, You don't need to know shit that's on that Epstein file.
And I agree with I agree with that comment, Jeff. I know a lot of people want this, that, and the other. It's really none of our damn business. I guess I'm going to speak for myself. I can't speak for any other Americans or anybody listening tonight. I guess what I want from the Epstein files is accountability.
Yes.
I don't need to know who the victims are. I don't give a shit who's on the list. Right. I just want accountability. I want them held accountable. I want them to pay for their crimes against humanity. Just like old rat boy freaking Falsey. He needs to pay for crimes against humanity. That's what I want. I want accountability in our government, period. And I think that a lot of people feel like we haven't seen any of that yet. And, you know, we've been told I've got it all. We have it all. There's hardly been any arrest, anything going on that is significant. Yes, there's been one or two people that have been picked up. And I know a lot of people say, well, Mike, LW, this has already happened. This is all in the past. They're not going to tell us. They're not going to show us, or they're going to let it out a little bit at a time. Well, here's my problem with that, Jeff. The things are shifting in this country, and they're shifting in the wrong direction. And I am a firm believer the only way to stop bad shit from happening to good people here in America is show us the fucking goods, period. I don't care if Nancy Pelosi's been dead for 5 years and Hillary Clinton's been dead for 5 years, then fucking show us, because I'm telling you, there are a lot of people out there that don't believe it, and they're mad as hell. And that's the only way you can head that off is show us the goods. If you got it, show it.
Well, you know, let me ask you this. Do you believe Trump has a big ego?
He has a massive ego. Okay. And you have to do what he's doing. Right. I don't like it, but I don't despise it, because I know to be in the position he's in and the massive cleanup he's got to do, you got to have balls of steel, and you have to have an ego. You have to.
So his term ends in 3 years, 2 years and change. Do you think, for 1 second, I don't personally know him, I know people around him, but do you believe for 1 second that Donald Trump will let his legacy go down by people saying, well, I thought you said you caught him. You caught them all. They're still here. I don't think that's going to happen. I think we are very, very extremely close. Now, I don't believe a lot of the operations we're ever going to know. But I do believe we're going to know the end result just by some of the moves, executive orders, some of the people that are still missing, that are nowhere to be found. Hell, you got Barack Obama, who just bought a place in England and just is in the process of purchasing a place in Kenya. And get this, Judge Joe Brown.
You mean where he was born?
What's that?
You mean where he was born?
Right. Well, listen to this. That Judge Joe Brown, he said he said for a fact during this little thing with the laptops that they were shown the original copies of his birth certificate. They interviewed the person who issued the birth certificate that was represented, and he believes where the constitutional crisis comes into is Barack Obama was not able to serve as president.
Mm-hmm. And I've been saying for a long time, the first arrest that will shock the world is going to be Obama. That's my belief.
Yeah, because when they arrested Trump, I was like, oh, that's that's huge. And we know something is happening. We know the wheels of justice are slow and the military wheels are even slower. But if you don't believe that there is nothing going on, all you have to do is listen to the interrogation audio tape of Clapper to the U.S.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, we played it a couple times here.
Right, where he spilled the beans.
Yeah, that was pretty amazing. I have to say thank you to White Devil real quick. Jeff White Devil bought us 3 coffees. He says, I am losing interest in the plan. I fight to get by every day. America first sure ain't doing anything. Arrest these ass hats. Period. Right. That's from White Devil. Thank you for the coffees. Thank you for the comment. And I guess that's where I'm at, is a lot of people feel that way, Jeff. I'm seeing a shift. I know that there's people in here that says, hey, I've been a believer for a long time. I'm still there. I'm never going to change. That's great. I'm telling you, there are a lot of people out there that are shifting. And I just feel like if you're going to hold on to your legacy, if you're going to make it to where we win the midterms, I've even heard people talk about a 3rd term for Donald Trump where, JD Vance gets elected and he steps down Trump's VP. I mean, there's all kinds of speculation and stuff like that. But if you're going to hold your legacy, if you're going to win the midterms, and if you're going to almost ensure an election of your vice president, you can't have a major shift in America. Correct. You just, the numbers aren't there. You can't do it. You can't have the major shift and win all that. It's just impossible. You know, that's what I believe.
I have faith that good wins over evil. I have faith that there are people that are in the military, that are in security services, that are in the intelligence community, that wake up with a conscience, and they'll do the right thing. And I know you've been out of town. There's 2 things that I want to know if you've seen. Okay. Did you see where Dan Bongino was walking into his studio and he got heckled by somebody who worked in federal law enforcement for 10 years over the Epstein list?
No, but I had a feeling shit like that was going to happen.
All right, so this guy was heckling Bongino pretty bad. And you could tell it got underneath his skin to a point where he wanted to throttle this guy. Mm-hmm. Bongino said something very interesting. He said, don't worry, you're going to find out all of this sooner than you think. And he said it with a very definite, I know this is coming. Okay. The second thing, did you see when Melania Trump walked out of the White House with that robot?
Yeah, I did. I did watch part of that. Yes.
Okay. I did a video of a side-by-side of that robot walking with Melania Trump and Joe Biden walking when everybody said he looked like a robot.
Mm-hmm. Well,
dude, to look like a robot in Biden's skin.
Or Jim Carrey. The other one is the major Jim Carrey and the way he walks, and seen all kinds of stuff on that too. And whether that's true or not, I don't know. I'm trying to speak for people
that are, I get
that
it.
are just so upset with the way things are going right now that they're not going to buy into. They're not going to buy into JFK Jr. is still alive. They're not going to buy into everyone's dead and these are all actors. They're not buying into any of that shit.
Well,
they are looking at their bank accounts. They're looking at the gas pump. They're looking at rent. They are looking at all this stuff that they can't afford. And they're saying, what the fuck? And you told us, you promised us that you were going to come in and you're going to make America great again.
Right.
And so they don't care about any of this stuff that is going on or what people think is going on. They don't care because the comment that John F. Kennedy, JFK is still alive and JFK Jr. is going to be the next president. Great. But I can tell you that these Americans I'm talking about, they don't give a shit because JFK is not making shit great right now, and JFK Jr. is not making shit great right now. They can't afford to put gas in their car. They can't afford to pay rent. That's all they care about.
Right.
And that's kind of who I'm trying to speak for tonight is like those people. Well, they don't want to get on the internet. They don't want to watch LWN. They don't want to watch any of these Jeff B shows or anyone else's shows that are talking about, you know, the plan or any of the other stuff. They don't give a shit. They are drowning. They're watching the national debt go from 38 trillion to 39 trillion. And now I just talked about it tonight. We're going to be spending $200 to $1 in the Iranian war. Our national debt is going to just that's what people care about. They care about their safety for their kids. They care about all that stuff. And we can sit here and talk about JFK Jr. and we can talk about the plan. We can talk about all this shit for hours and hours and hours every night on this show, and they don't care. Right. They want to know, what is Trump going to do about it? What is Congress going to do about it? How does our voice get heard so we can help make change? And I don't know the answer to that anymore. I thought I knew that answer years ago. We talked about that answer here on LWN for a lot of years, that you have to get involved in your local level. We got to hold our politicians all accountable. And that's also something that they want. They want accountability for Trump. They want accountability for all these rotten bastards in Congress and the Senate, you know, and the ones that run our cities and the ones that run our counties. They want accountability. And they want to break out of the matrix. And I don't have answers for them anymore, Jeff, because every day that ticks by, every month that goes by, and we keep pushing those goalposts back, well, we're going to see something big this month, and we're going to be this date special, and nothing fucking happens. I mean, these people are just tired of hearing us talk. And I want to give them reality, and I want to give them real answers.
Right. And I don't think anybody has any real answers right now, except for, you know, the people in operational planning. But with this right now, this time frame that we're in, where everybody is doubting everything again, kind of reminds me of the third term or the third year of Biden's term, when everybody was in a panic. You had conservatives fighting against conservatives. You had, Democrats just doing what Democrats do daily. Like I said, I believe Trump's ego is so big that he would not make these statements because they know they'll come back to bite him in his ass, and he will not let his legacy he won't die on this cross. And I believe we are at such a jumping off point. There's going to be something, I believe, in the very near future, real near future, that is going to shake this country to its core. Whether it's something 9/11 style that is going to force some type of come togetherness. Not that it's planned or calculated, but what we're doing in the Middle East and with these radical jihadists, and with us letting all of these people that we don't know anything about into this country for 4 years on our dime. And, it's not the people who came here's fault. if the elections are not rigged, if they were fair, then the American people are to blame for this, because you, as a voter, put these individuals in office to allow them to do it. And I don't believe that's the case.
I want to bring up something right after this, Jeff. I want to talk to you about this. So remember this: bureaucrats, they're unelected. Real quick, folks, before we talk about bureaucrats, I want to show you some of the pieces that I got for the giveaway on Wednesday. I got some really cool ass coins. These are not silver coins. These are just just memorabilia for the 250 year anniversary. I'm I think I got seven of these different coins that I'm probably gonna do like 2 of each Wednesday night giveaway. So if you guys want to get in on that, just buy a coffee, Cash App, any of the things that the mods give you there. Here's some brandy cups that I bought too that I thought were pretty cool for the 250 year anniversary. So we're going to be giving away a couple of these brandy glasses, probably 14 of those commemorative coins. And I'll be giving those coins out through the year too. So I can't even hold it straight. There's another one of the brandy glasses that's pretty cool. And then this little like flask thingy that I thought was pretty cool. Anyway, I picked these up when I was traveling. I thought they were pretty cool. And we'll be drawing names for those. But I saw some of the comments. How do we have our voices heard, Jeff? And how do we make change? Because that's something that we're trying to promote here on this channel for a lot of years. Is it starts in your own backyard. It starts in your own communities. You have to get involved. You have to vote. You have to hold those people accountable. So here's what maybe a lot of people don't know. And I know that a lot of our listeners and people in our chat are super smart, and a lot of them already know this. But for the off chance, that there's somebody new listening or come upon this channel and they don't know a lot about government, we can vote like hell. And I believe that what we need is a clean slate. Like we need, I truly believe, it is my belief that we have to have term limits for sure. But here's the thing. I think we have to start over with clean slate, because even if we win every election and we're constantly cycling people through, there's still the OGs that are in there that have been there for a long time. And I feel like those people corrupt the new ones and they blackmail them. And it's just an ongoing cycle. I think it's really hard to make major change unless we clean the slate and we have term limits. But here's something that maybe a lot of people don't know. Yeah, we have elections. Yes, we pay, we vote people in, we vote people out. But it's the bureaucrats that are not elected, folks. Bureaucrats that are there for a lifetime. They almost run the government more than the elected officials. And so, Jeff, I'd like for you to talk about that for a minute, because I don't think some people realize, oh, yeah, hey, we voted this person in and we voted this person in and it's going to be great and we're going to change America. But it's the people even under them, the bureaucrats that actually run the government, that have been there for centuries. They're old as shit and they've been there forever. And it's like they get appointed and they get to stay until they freaking die. I mean, so what are your thoughts on that, Jeff?
Well, I agree with you. Civil servants, my time at the White House is the first time that I was exposed to that. And, I reported directly to Admiral Blair, who was the 4-star Pacific Fleet commander. And if there was certain criteria on the job that I was doing, to where, military is hardcore chain of command. And there were times in certain situations that me, as being in the Navy, being what I did for the intelligence community, in that I was able to jump chain of command, and I wouldn't have to go through Admiral Blair's aide. I could go directly to Admiral Blair. Okay. There was a situation that happened about 2 o'clock in the morning, and I was across the street at OEOB in the basement, and I intercepted some traffic that was very, very concerning. And so I got a hold of the agent in charge at the White House for the switchboard to get a hold of Admiral Blair, because I had a certain window time frame in order to get this raw data to the Oval Office. It was that critical. And they came, because it was at night. You had to have an escort to go across the street because where the White House is at. An agent come up, met me at the door, took me in. I went into the skiff and told the agent that Admiral Blair had instructed me, gave me a certain word to give the detail. And there was a staffer who was basically under the chief of staff, who had told me and the agent that this didn't fit the criteria for them to wake up what we called the old man, to wake him up.
Mm-hmm.
Once Admiral Blair got there, I expressed my concern to him, like, look, this is, you give me a directive, an order, that this is what I do. And I have somebody here who's never been elected by the American people, who is basically a civil servant, telling me not to abide by your order. Now, that person was never seen again, but I do understand because the White House is full of 30-year bureaucrats.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that changes in the White House is the president and vice president and their staff. All these other clowns stay there, and they all have their own agendas. They all get paid by lobbyists.
And they're all making rules, laws, like
Correct.
They run the country.
Correct.
So here's my question to you, Jeff, and here's my question to everybody listening tonight. If you're watching this live on X, Rumble, Facebook, YouTube, wherever you're finding us tonight, and if you're watching the replay, this is my question to you. Kathy H puts up here, government is 90% bureaucrats.
Yep.
My question to you, Jeff, my question to everybody else. How do we make a difference? How do we get them out of office? How do we make change to where these people can't be in office for 30, 40 years running our country and they're appointed? Like, how can we make that change? I would like to know everybody's opinion on that. Just drop it there in chat. I'll try to pull up as many of them as I can. How do you think we could make change?
I think
Jeff D, and thank you, Rhonda, for the kind donation. Really appreciate it over there on Cash App. Thank you.
Well, I believe the only way this gets handled is it all has to be burnt to the ground, figuratively.
I've been saying that.
And I believe that's what we are going to see with this national security emergency order based on election fraud, which is our biggest national security issue that's out there. And because you have to remember, Mike, and I know it's just not the presidential election. We're talking about all of these down ballots
Yep.
How
It
many
matters. It
how
matters.
many of these people are sitting in office that weren't duly elected by the American people? This is where I
Well,
think your
so
constitutional crisis comes into.
so we reported on this too, Jeff. I don't know how many people listening tonight actually know this, but a lot of these people run unopposed.
Correct.
And I don't know if people understand what that means, but that means in their districts, they are the only one on the ticket because nobody is running against them. And
Right.
it could be a Democrat, it could be a Republican, it does not matter. But what I'm trying to say is nobody is getting involved in their local government. So when you talk about the down ballot, when you talk about how important local elections are, if you don't have anybody even running against the dirtiest son of a bitch out there, they're running unopposed, then they get reelected automatically damn near, and they just do whatever the hell they want.
Right. Right. Well,
And Trump has been bringing this up an awful lot lately, and I see the comment there in chat. Primarying is a tool
yes,
that a lot of people don't know about, don't really pay attention to. And remember, Trump brings it up all the time. Well, we'll just primary you. We'll
Yep.
just primary you. We'll just primary you. Well, a lot of people don't even realize that just in a primary alone, you could get rid of somebody like Nancy Pelosi, Mitch McConnell, Lindsey Graham, all those sons of bitches that we don't like. They don't even have to make it to the big election. You primary them out, they're out. They're gone. Done. See ya. And
Yeah.
people don't know that.
Well, yeah, just look at Crockett. She got primary.
Yep.
Look at Wolfman Jack. He got primary. You're gone. And now all of a sudden the elections weren't fair. Donald Trump, the big boogeyman in the closet, he had his hand in that. Well, you know, here this is, I believe it starts with the school systems. Okay? We don't do civics anymore. You know, people don't realize that, okay, Mike, you hold a Senate seat in Idaho. 85% of your constituents want you to vote a certain way. And you're in DC, but the lobbyist wants you to vote a certain way. And when you vote a certain way, we're going to give you $500,000. And you vote that certain way. Well, guess what? Now you're not a representative republic. You are not representing your constituents.
Mm-hmm.
You are representing the lobbyists. And now I believe that this is the route that they're going, because I believe they're using the greatest gift W. Bush ever gave us was FISA. And they know it. And I believe they knew the gig was up when Trump won again, and he did that emergency meeting with all those flag officers. I believe that's when they knew the gig was up, because all of these politicians that were in our face 24/7 telling us that we don't know what's right for us, they do. They all
they know
got
better
damn
than us.
quiet. Right. Yep.
They know what's better for us than ourselves. I don't know. It's a scrambled up mess. I think it's going to take a lot of time to iron all this stuff out.
Well,
I do believe that Trump wants to leave a good legacy. I believe there are good people out there trying to do some amazing things. I think there's some evil bastards out there still trying to do whatever they can to disrupt it, to take it down, to crush it, to keep us all enslaved. And it's going to take all of us to say no and do more than just say no. I'm prepared to do more than just say no. I'm fully prepared at this point. I'm fully prepared, and if I get called, if I get a call, if it's the right call for the right reason, I'm fully prepared.
Yeah. Well, I just by, the post that Dan Scavino put out with boxes on pallets saying basically it's coming. I believe we're beyond close at the jumping point. And, you know, when all of my buddies start to get quiet that are still in the game, something big, something very, very big is on the horizon. And I pray that it's for the good. I think it is. You know, and if not, if we were sold a bullshit bill of goods, Donald Trump, you can be just like all the rest of them.
Yeah. Well, Conservative Cowboy, I did try to pull your link up and it won't load for some reason. Don't know why. Just let you know I did try to pull it up. I don't even want to dip off into that conversation because I think it'd be a fun one if we did. But I just think that there are a lot of people that are super tired, and we go through this thing where we go up and down, up and down,
Yep.
up and down. And people are super tired, and then all of a sudden some good shit happens, and I think we're coming down again. I just don't know if it's going to go back up. That's kind of where everybody's holding their breath, going, well, this ride's a long one, and it's just not looking good at this point.
Well, you know, I'm a firm believer, Mike, that the American people have to be shown how good they have it and what they almost lost. And for some people, whether it's financial, whether it's, you know, the 19, the way I look at it, it took us 250 years to fuck this up. It's going to take us a little while to fix it. And when you have everybody and their brother against a person who I believe was asked to run for that office for this particular, what other reason? I mean, if I was 78 years old and I was a billionaire, my ass would not be sitting in DC.
Nope.
No, not when my current residents.
I sure in the hell wouldn't have done it after the second time he got voted in and got screwed and then got shot at. I'd have been, you know what? I'm going to just go ahead and pull my name out and I'm going to go right off into the sunset.
And not only
Donald Trump is definitely a fighter.
Right. And not only is it affecting him, it's affecting his family. I mean, they just arrested, I don't even know if this has been made public yet, but they arrested somebody that was trying to get to Barron. And they yanked him out of school because of this.
He's still in school? College?
Well, college. And they yanked the from how it was explained to me, the director of the Secret Service felt that it was such a threat that they yanked him. And he got pushback on it, but it was I believe it was the right choice. Because why are so many people gunning for him? Both sides of the aisle. Unless they know something that is about right, because they're playing for all the marbles too.
I think at this point we're all playing for all the marbles. And my plan is I'm out there busting my ass to ensure that I have everything I need to keep my family safe and I can make it through anything. I put everything else in God's hands and I'm working my ass off. God has been blessing me with opportunity after opportunity. And I can tell you, I'm walking down the right path because these opportunities wouldn't be there if they were the wrong path. And I know that what I'm doing for me and my family is the right thing to do. So I did see that comment, Kathy and Conservative Cowboy. I'll take a look at it because we're getting ready to wrap up for the night. So don't forget, Wednesday night is going to be all about reverse grifting. You're not going to want to miss it. If you guys in the last 3 months have bought any coffees, bought any merchandise for every $5 that you guys have spent, it is going to your name is going into the hat for the drawing for that. And we've got a lot to give away. We got a barbecue we're giving away. We got $200 gift certificates to the merchandise shop that we're doing. We got 4 or 5 silver 1-ounce silver coins that are worth almost $100 a piece right now. I don't know where silver is today, but it's close to $100. It's got to be $70, $80. And then when we got some other coins I'm giving away and some other stuff. Thank you, Debbie Golden, for the 3 coffees she bought for us tonight. Jeff B, it says, we haven't spent all these years fighting to lose now. Have faith. We will win. Thank you for that, Debbie. Appreciate that. I have no doubt we're going to win. I just think we win a different way. And I am definitely always paying attention to the horizon because I think it's important to keep your eyes open and your ears open to what's going on around you, and not just believe everything you hear on YouTube. I did that once, bit me in the ass. So I don't know. Jeff, final thought?
Well, my final thought is this.
Give us some hope, Jeff. Did we talk about the response team that has a deadline? Because that's a little bit of hope.
Yeah, it's called Quick Reaction Forces. Every state has to be trained up and have knowledge of what their responsibility is going to be. And I believe that deadline is April 15th that was put forth by the Pentagon. So why do you have to have quick reaction forces in every state unless something very big? And I think that something is going to be when the American people are told by the U.S. military and the National Command Authority that their country has been stolen from them, and they're in preparation, A, for the backlash of outside agitators, and B, I think for arrest.
All right. Well, I can sure appreciate that maybe happening. As always, thank you, Jeff, for joining us. I think my final thought tonight is going to be this. A lot of people stand fast, hold fast, stay strong. I believe that. Keep in prayer because only God's going to be able to, I think at this point in our country's history, he's got to have a great big hand in it. And I think he does. He's leading me in certain directions. And so I would say just prepare for the worst and pray for the best. That's my motto, because I'd sure hate to not be prepared when God's been telling me to prepare for a long time. I mean, this is how I look at it. I look at Noah. God told him prepare for a long time, and then the rains came. And for those who laughed at him and said, we don't need to do this, God's going to take care of everything, or we'll take care of everything, they missed the boat. So when God tells me to prepare and leads me down a path that I'm on right now to prepare and make things happen, I'm building my ark just in case. So that's my final thought for tonight, man. Just make sure that you can take care of you and your family, your neighbors, because we're all in this together. And I appreciate your time, Jeff.
Yeah.
And Wednesday night, right? We're going to come back Wednesday night and I'm going to call it the reverse grifting show. That's going to be the time.
The Jerry Lewis reverse griftathon.
We could get Jerry Lewis on here. But he's probably playing. Tammy Jackson, thank you also for your Cash App donation. She says God wins. So thank you for that, Tammy. So all you guys, your names are going in the drawing for Wednesday night. I know a lot of you've got lots of entries in there, and I wish all of you the best of luck when we pull the names out Wednesday night. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I like to give, and I know Jeff does too. So it's going to be a lot of fun, right, Jeff?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it'll be a fun time.
All right. Well, guys, have a wonderful evening. Jeff, thanks for joining us. I'll talk to you Wednesday.
All right, sir. Thank you, and have a
All
good
right.
evening, everybody.
You too. All right. Thanks for joining us tonight. Again, please keep Tammy and her husband and her family, her kids in your prayers. Like I said at the beginning of the show, they are going through a really tough time. I can't go into detail about it, but every prayer that you guys can send her way every day, a couple times during the day, she really needs strength. She's tired. She loves you guys. She can feel your prayers. I know my mom could feel the prayers when you guys were praying for her in the hospital, and I felt them. Mom's doing great now, and so just keep her in your prayers. She is definitely, she's definitely a huge part of LWN. We miss her greatly, and I know she will be back. But I'm going to tell you this: it might be a while, so you're going to just have the boys for a while, and no Tammy, and no making fun of Tammy. I can't make fun of her right now, so I can't wait for when I can, just not today. So love y'all. We had a great night. It's been a while. I'm going back out on the road here in about another week. So it's just going to be kind of how I have to do things, man. I have to make a living, and it's dragging me to all kinds of different places to do that. And I'm having a good time doing it, meeting a lot of wonderful people and seeing different parts of the country and seeing what's really going on out there too, which is helping me in my discernment. Because when I can actually go to all these other different states and different places and talk to real people, I have a full understanding of what America feels. I have a pulse on that. I'm not just watching a YouTube video and believing whatever's being told to me. I'm actually boots on the ground out there having conversation with people and talking to them. And I'm truly blessed. And thank you guys for being such a big part of LWN and being here for us. Thank you, all the great mods. We have the best in the business. They do such a wonderful job. I'm always the last minute Larry, and they're always here. So thank you guys, and just love you all. God bless. Stay safe. We'll catch you on the next one.